Welcome back to another Swampfox Optics video, and to cut right to the chase, if you clicked on this video because you read the title, the quick and dirty answer is no, you just don't need a red dot. To answer the question no might seem a little confusing, disingenuous, whatever you want to call it, but the reality is you don't need a red dot on your pistol, just like you don't need any of the accessories that come available to firearms. But the question is why would you want one, and what are some of the reasons that you may want one or may not? To start, iron sights have worked really, really well for hundreds and hundreds of years. So, do you really need an optic? No, because iron sights work. We know that. Nobody would argue with that. Ultimately, one of the only reasons that people would want to not add a red dot is it adds another point of failure to the firearm, and that is true. Optics can fail, and so can iron sights, but less likely than red dots. You might not want another point of failure on your pistol if it's like a do-all, end of the world type thing, whatever your use case might be. If you don't want to add additional points of failure, don't put an optic on your firearm. The second reason why people might not want a red dot on their pistol is they just have been shooting iron sights their whole life, and I understand that completely. This is a relatively new technology, and iron sights have been around forever, like I said before. So if you grew up shooting iron sights and you don't want to put a red dot on your gun, more power to you. I don't blame you at all, and I don't knock that. What I will say though is, in an analogy, at one point in time, horse-drawn carriages were the most effective way to get from point A to point B. And over time, we realized that there was room to be improved upon on how we get from point A to point B. And so if you were to take a car now and compare it to a horse-drawn carriage, they both do the same thing, but one does it much more effectively than the other. I know it's not a perfect comparison, and I don't think the divide between red dots and iron sights are so vast that it is perfectly comparable to a horse-drawn carriage to a car, but it does stand that this new technology does make shooting easier. It makes target acquisition easier. It can help you become a better shooter. We have come a long, long way in optic technology and development, and these things are pretty good now. You see a lot of guys that don't run backup iron sights on rifles. Now you should run backup irons on your pistol because there's no reason not to, but the reliability of red dots is really no longer a question. I know at their inception, people are like, well, you know, it's a new technology, it's gonna fail or it could fail and batteries could go out. And for the most part, we're past the point where that's as much of a concern as it used to be. At the end of the day, they are reliable. The average red dot is leaps and bounds better than what they were 10 years ago. With the advancements in how far optics have come, there's really no reason not to put an optic on your gun, unless, like I said at the beginning, that you just don't want the point of failure. Now, once we get past that, if that's not a super huge concern for you and you want the advantages of a red dot, let's talk about why red dots can provide just such huge advantages over iron sights. And working with both clear guns here, showed down at the beginning of the video, but you'll survive. All things being equal, red dots, iron sights, red dots win all day, every day. And the reason for that is it is a simpler system. It's a simpler, easier thing for our eyes to see and a way for us to stay target focused. I'd say that's one of the biggest reasons that people love red dots is they're faster to acquire because you're not having to line up your sight posts as you should, be focused on the front sight post when you're using iron sights. You have nothing to line up. You present the gun in a way that your iron sights would naturally be aligned, and instead of looking for the front sight post in alignment with your rear posts, you see a red dot, and that red dot is your point of aim. When we talk about being target focused, what happens in high stress environments, if we've ever been in one, is we're pretty focused on what's happening in front of us. We're really not thinking about the mechanical act of shooting a firearm, and so we're focused on the target or the threat, or however you want to phrase that. What red dots allow for is to be threat and target focused, to bring the optic to our eye instead of bringing our eye to the optic. And we just have this little floating red dot floating over our target. We don't have to worry about a front sight post. We don't have to worry about aligning our front to our rear sights. And we just red dot on target and shoot. And that is the, I'd say the biggest advantage is the ability to acquire a sight picture faster and the ability to not have to focus on your front sight post. You're focused on the target the entire time while you're shooting, only really switching your focus if you're like reloading or something like that, if you choose to break target focus. Like I said before, you don't need one. It's not a necessity to put a red dot on a pistol. And there are a bunch of shooters out there that shoot iron sights that are absolutely phenomenal shooters, people who have probably forgotten more about shooting than I will ever know. And so I don't want to take that away. I don't want to make this video and be like, well, iron sights suck, because they don't. They work. But red dots are kind of the pinnacle and evolution of technology that allows us to be better shooters, that allow us to be more accurate, that allow us to be faster. And all that stuff matters, right? All that stuff adds up when we're talking about skills and shooting. And I do believe that at the end of the day, who am I to tell you what you should pick? We, because we make optics, we are partial to red dots, and you might not be, and that's okay. We think there's some really, really cool advantages that come with red dots. We love being able to design different versions. You know, the Liberty 2 is a little bit smaller and better for concealed carry, and the Justice 2 is a little bit bigger and better for competition shooting. I mean, the speed of which you can acquire your dot on the Justice 2 is pretty crazy. It's a huge window, the glass is clear, and man, it's just super easy to just pick this thing up and boom, it's there. I'm not even wondering, is it there, is it there? No, if I'm presenting in a good, natural way, I can see that dot every single time, and that's pretty freaking cool. So red dots are dope. Iron sights are cool too, but red dots are cooler. Fight me in the comments. If you have feelings about this, which I'm sure you do, please drop your comments below. This is definitely a discussion. It's not an end all be all. It's not, this is the way, the only way. Let's chat about why you would say that red dots are better or iron sights are better. And let me know if you feel like I did a good job representing people that might like red dots versus iron sights better. So hopefully that was helpful and not just me rambling, probably a little bit of both. But yeah, if you liked the video, do all the things, and we'll see you in the next one.